The soft click of the penthouse door echoed through. The marble hallway at 2:47 p.m., 3 hours earlier than expected. Marcus Wellington, Forbes' third richest man in America, stood frozen in his own foyer, briefcase in hand, watching his elderly maid press a trembling finger to her lips. Rosa's weathered face had gone pale, her eyes wide with an urgency he'd never seen in their 12 years together. "Mr. Wellington?" she whispered, barely audible. "Please!" "Stay silent." In that moment, standing in his $20 million apartment overlooking Central Park, Marcus realized he knew absolutely nothing about the woman who had quietly moved through his life like a gentle shadow, asking for nothing, seeing everything. Marcus's heart hammered against his ribs. His mind raced through possibilities. A break-in, a medical emergency, something wrong with his daughter Emma. He nodded slowly, trusting Rosa in a way that surprised even himself. She gestured toward the living room, and he followed, his Italian leather shoes soundless against the Persian rug. What he saw stopped him cold. Huddled on his custom-designed sofa were 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, ranging from perhaps 6 to 10 years old. They wore mismatched clothes, too thin for New York's bitter February, and clutched steaming mugs of what smelled like his expensive hot chocolate. The youngest girl had tear-stained cheeks. The boy's arm was wrapped in a makeshift bandage. They looked up at Marcus with eyes that held too much fear for their young faces. "Rosa," Marcus breathed, trying to keep his voice low despite his confusion. "What?" "Their mother works in the building," Rosa interrupted softly, wringing her hands in her apron. "Cleaning crew overnight shift." She had no one to watch them. Her babysitter disappeared with her last paycheck. She was going to lose her job if she didn't show up tonight. I told her they could stay here, just for a few hours. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Wellington. I know I had no right, but—" "The boy's arm?" Marcus cut in, his business mind latching onto the immediate problem. "Fell at school yesterday. His mother can't afford the ER copay. I cleaned it, bandaged it. It's not broken, but—" Rosa's voice cracked. "Sir, I'll pack my things. I understand if you need to let me go. I broke your trust. I brought strangers into your home. But please don't call anyone on these children. Their mother is good. She's trying so hard." Marcus looked at the 3 small faces staring at him. The oldest girl had moved protectively in front of her siblings, her chin raised despite the trembling of her lower lip. Something shifted in his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced since his own mother had worked 3 jobs to keep him fed, since before the billions and the boardrooms, and the carefully constructed walls around his heart. He slowly lowered himself into the armchair across from them, setting down his briefcase with deliberate care. "What are your names?" The oldest girl blinked. "I'm Sophia. This is my sister Lily and my brother Miguel. We're not bad kids, mister. We'll leave right now if you want. We won't touch anything." "You're drinking my hot chocolate," Marcus observed. "The good Belgian kind. Cost me $40 a tin." Sophia's face crumpled. "I'm sorry." "We can pay you back. I have $3 from my birthday and—" "Sophia." Marcus held up a hand, surprised to find himself smiling. "I'm teasing." Badly, apparently. "That chocolate is meant to be enjoyed. But Miguel, let me see that arm." The boy hesitated, then extended his thin limb. Marcus examined the bandage carefully. Rosa had done good work, but the bruising underneath looked nasty. His daughter Emma had taken a similar fall last year. He remembered the x-rays, the relief when nothing was broken. The way his wealth had made the entire experience smooth and stress-free. "Rosa," he said quietly. "Call Dr. Chen. Ask him to come here now. Tell him it's important." "Sir, I can't ask you to—" "You're not asking. I'm insisting." Marcus met her eyes. "And Rosa, you're not fired. You're getting a raise, a significant one." The elderly maid's hands flew to her mouth, tears spilling over. Marcus turned back to the children. "Here's what's going to happen. Dr. Chen is going to check Miguel's arm. We're going to make sure everyone is healthy and safe. Then we're going to order dinner. What do you kids like? Pizza? Chinese food? I'm honestly asking because I usually just eat whatever my chef makes." "You have a chef?" Lily whispered, eyes wide. "I do, but he's off tonight. So we'll have to rough it with takeout." Marcus found himself grinning. "What do you say?" Over the next 3 hours, Marcus Wellington's perfectly ordered world became beautifully chaotic. Dr. Chen confirmed Miguel's arm wasn't broken but prescribed. Antibiotics for a developing infection that made Marcus's blood run cold. Thinking about what might have happened without treatment, they ordered enough pizza to feed 20 people. The children slowly relaxed, their laughter filling spaces that had been silent for too long. Sophia told him about her school, how she wanted to be a veterinarian but worried they couldn't afford college. Miguel demonstrated his ability to burp the alphabet, which had Lily in hysterics. Rosa watched it all with shining eyes, occasionally disappearing to wipe away tears. At 8 p.m., a soft knock came at the service entrance. A woman in a cleaning uniform stood there, exhausted and anxious, her hands clutched together. "I'm so sorry to disturb you, sir. I'm Maria Santos. I came for my children," Rosa said. "Mrs. Santos?" Marcus stood, extending his hand. "Please come in. Your children are wonderful. Though I should warn you." Miguel ate approximately his body weight in pepperoni pizza. Maria's eyes darted around his opulent home, landing on her children safe and content. Then back to Marcus with confusion and lingering fear. "I don't understand." "Rosa said you came home early. I told her this could never happen, that I'd find another way." "Sir, I promise I'll never—" "Miss Santos, may I ask you something? What's your dream? If you could do anything, what would it be?" The question clearly caught her off guard. My dream? Rosa told me you work overnight cleaning crews." "That must be exhausting with 3 kids." Maria's shoulders straightened with pride despite her obvious fatigue. "My children will have better than I had. Sophia wants to be a veterinarian. I'm saving every penny. It doesn't matter what I have to do." Marcus recognized that fire. He'd seen it in his mother's eyes years ago. "I run a foundation," he said slowly. "Wellington Educational Initiative. We provide full scholarships for exceptional students from underprivileged backgrounds. I'd like Sophia to be our newest recipient. Full ride through college, including living expenses." He held up a hand as Maria gasped. "But there are conditions. She has to maintain good grades, participate in community service, and you have to accept a new position." "A position?" "I need a building manager for my residential properties. Salary, benefits, reasonable hours, college fund for all 3 children." "You'd be perfect. You already know the building, and anyone who can raise 3 kids this well while working overnight can certainly manage some spoiled tenants." Maria staggered and Rosa rushed to support her. "Sir, this isn't real. People don't just—" "People should," Marcus said softly. "My mother cleaned houses to keep me fed. She worked herself to exhaustion so I could have opportunities. I built an empire, Mrs. Santos, but somewhere along the way I forgot what it was for. Your children and Rosa's courage in helping them reminded me." He looked at Rosa, this woman who had seen him at his worst, who had quietly cleaned his home and never asked for anything, who had risked everything for someone else's children. "Rosa, how many families in this building do you think are struggling like Ms. Santos?" The elderly maid's eyes widened. "Sir, I want names. Everyone who needs help, childcare, medical care, education, job training. We're going to start a program, right here. Use my resources for something that actually matters." "Marcus," Rosa whispered, using his first name for the first time in 12 years. "You're a good man. Your mother would be so proud." 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same penthouse, but everything had changed. The Wellington Family Initiative had helped 43 families. Sophia was thriving in an accelerated science program. Miguel's arm had healed perfectly. The building that once held isolated strangers now hummed with community, a tutoring center on the 2nd floor, a subsidized childcare co-op, job training programs. And Marcus? He came home early now, often, because home was no longer just a showcase of wealth. It was filled with Rosa's laughter, with children's voices echoing in the hallway, with Maria's updates on building improvements with purpose. That February afternoon when Rosa had whispered, "Stay silent," Marcus had thought she was asking him to hide something shameful. Instead, she'd been offering him a gift, the chance to witness genuine humanity, to remember who he'd been before the billions, to see what really mattered. The reason it stunned him? It wasn't Rosa's act of kindness, though that was remarkable. It wasn't the children's resilience or Maria's strength, though both moved him deeply. What truly stunned Marcus, Wellington, was the realization that he'd spent decades building an empire while overlooking the simple truth his mother had known all along. The greatest wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the lives you touch, the hands you lift, the moment you choose compassion over indifference. Rosa had asked him to stay silent that day, but what he'd found in that silence, listening instead of commanding, witnessing instead of judging, feeling instead of calculating, had taught him to finally truly speak, not with money or power, but with humanity.